That's what I think. I mean, if you look, you had to twist yourself into a pretzel to figure out what the crime was. It was bad thinking on the part of Letitia James,
the Attorney General,
who nobody knew her name either.
Hey, y'all, thanks for stopping in. I'm going to read some news today. Got a little video for you, but Judge Judy slams Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg for prosecuting Trump in nonsense hush money case. So I got to admit, I haven't historically, been a huge fan of Judge Judy or her show. I get it that it's acting and some performance that's going on with her attitude and stuff like that, but one thing's for sure, she's always been a no-nonsense person, a no-nonsense type of judge. I got this little article here from Daily Mail. Judge Judy slams Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg for prosecuting Trump in nonsense hush money case. So let's check it out.
Donald Trump was indicted in 4 separate cases, and his legal strategy was pretty clear. He wanted to push all of the trials past the election, which he succeeded in, with the exception, it appears he's going to succeed in, with the exception of the Manhattan hush money trial. That kind of effort to just use procedural motions, whatever, is that the justice system working, or is it the justice system being manipulated?
I would be happier, as someone who owns property in Manhattan, if the district attorney of New York County would take care of criminals who are making it impossible for citizens to walk in the streets and use the subway, to use his efforts to keep those people off the street, than to spend $5 million or $10 million of taxpayers' money trying Donald Trump on this nonsense. That's my view. And that is a view that's shared by a lot of people, but they won't say it to you publicly because they'll say, oh, she must be a Trumpster. That's not true. But I, as a taxpayer in this country, resent using the system for your own personal self-aggrandizement. Now, if you didn't know...
And that's what you think the DA did in Manhattan?
That's what I think. That's what I think. That's what I think. I mean, if you look, you had to twist yourself into a pretzel to figure out what the crime was. It was bad thinking on the part of Letitia James,
the Attorney General,
who nobody knew her name either.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
What do I think of him? I think he was a good businessman, a real estate guy, and he was certainly terrific on The Apprentice.
What do you think of him as president of the United States?
I don't think that Donald ever should have been president, and I don't think that even Donald thought he was going to be president. I don't think so. It was a personality contest between the two of them.
I'm not quite sure of Judge Judy's politics. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if she's historically been, a Democrat or a Republican. I tend to believe that people that live in New York City happen to be Democrats more often than Republicans, so that's the way that I kind of assume that she believes. But I understand there's always the exception, and a lot of people that are historical Democrats have come around lately in light of these, far-reaching cases against Trump. I know recently the guy from Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, has become more and more opposed to the persecution against Donald Trump. For example, when the judge just ruled that Mar-a-Lago was worth like $25 million when it's realistically worth more like $1 billion. And here, I'll just let you hear what he had to say about it.
I don't think this case is about Trump anymore at all, because you heard the governor of New York come out yesterday and say, look, everybody, don't be scared about doing business in New York, because the only people we prosecute are people like Donald Trump who don't behave well. That didn't go over very well with the investment community, because we're all asking each other, who's next? This was a victimless crime. Nobody lost any money. And a judge out of nowhere put on a $355 million penalty. I mean, who's next? So if you think
Kevin,
about
before I don't want to cut you off, but I hear about the so-called victimless crimes, but the laws on the books falsification of business records in second degree, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, conspiracy, and all these different aspects of it. Those are actual crimes. I take it your point is that these should not have been prosecuted?
Well, my point is there's never been a case like this in 75 years. Everything you just listed off is done by every real estate developer everywhere on earth in every city. This has never, ever been prosecuted. But here's the real point that people in New York should concern themselves with. You can put your money anywhere. I'm a real estate developer. Do you think there's a chance I would ever take a chance on New York again? New York is turning itself into a flyover state.
And here's Kevin O'Leary in a couple other interviews as well.
I mean, just leaving the whole Trump thing out of it and seeing what occurred here, and I'm no different than any other investor. I'm shocked at this. I can't even understand or fathom the decision at all. There's no rationale for it. And so let me give you a real-time experience I'm having regarding this, and I'm not the only one. It doesn't matter what the governor says. New York was already a loser state. Like California is a loser state. There are many loser states because of policy, high taxes, uncompetitive regulation. It was already on the top of the list of being a loser state. I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that. And here's a real-time situation. In development in real estate right now, the hottest asset class is very high-end data centers. They cost anywhere from $2.5 to $3.5 billion each. They're very expensive. They require low power. You need permits. But most of the major institutions in the world need more data centers, and that's why developers like me are doing this. Now, you need power. So New York has Niagara Falls. Normally, you'd consider that to put in one of these facilities, create 400 jobs, 5 more jobs for each of one of those for auxiliary services. I can't go to New York. So I'm going to Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia. Governor Stitt, Kevin Stitt, my staff have met with him. Governor Bergen, the same thing. Governor Justice. Those are winner states. They don't do things like this. I have to syndicate that debt and all that equity. We're talking billions of dollars here. Do you think any foreign institution or any private equity firm or any pension fund would touch New York? No. And that's why New Yorkers should be concerned. The fine people of New York should ask themselves, why are we such a loser state?
The crime is off the chain here, but he's not focused on that.
Really fed up of what's happening to New York. People are afraid to come out. They're afraid to go to work. They're afraid to take the train. He doesn't back my blue. He needs to resign.
He needs to go after the real criminals.
New Yorkers there blasting Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg for the rise in violent crime here in the Big Apple. It is a topic House Republicans will hold a field hearing on early next week.
And that hearing is going to feature testimony from victims of violent crime during Bragg's tenure. That includes bodega worker Jose Alba, who you'll remember was charged with second-degree murder for stabbing a man in self-defense last summer. Now, that was before widespread public outrage finally led Bragg to drop those charges.
Now joining us, Kevin O'Leary. He is the chairman of O'Leary Ventures and says he is moving his companies out of New York. Kevin, good to have you here. So
Thank you very much.
Why is New York not worth fighting for?
Not investable. It's not about politics at all. It's about policy. So post-pandemic, most investors, me included, have realized that we can headquarter our companies anywhere because 40% of our staff don't work in HQ anymore. So I can take a company out of New York that looks promising, move it to Texas, Florida, North Dakota, Tennessee. These are places with no state taxes, good schools, people want to live there, and set them up there and escape 9 to 15% taxes. Now, specific to New York and cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco, they're war zones. I wouldn't ask anybody to live there or work there. And that's because of incredibly bad management of those cities and those states. And so I'm okay to say this because it's a fact. And so I think voters in these states, and the no-go states right now for investors, and this is shared by many investors, I'm just vocal about it. You never put a diamond in New York. This is a horrible place for policy, horrible. Anywhere in the state, unstable policy. Massachusetts, punitive taxes on success. Elizabeth Warren, while I respect her as a politician, I don't agree on her policies at all. If you're successful there, you're super taxed. Why would you put one of your CEOs in a place where they're going to be punished for success? It's so un-American, I don't even understand it. So we don't touch that place. New Jersey, uninvestable, uninvestable. I mean, then California, they're not even in business.
So there you have it. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.